I'm curious, guys, with like how AI actually fits into this a little bit more with local SEO. What do you guys see? And I'm asking you to predict the future, but how do you see local changing as AI view starts to become more of the norm in Google instead of the SERP?
SEO has been a little more challenging through Google with the AI, but best practices still are working where brand authority and topical authority help you get those positions that uprank your contenders.
You can use AI to, write those posts, but let's make sure they sound like humans or even the voice of the business owner. I think people are getting good at detecting if that's an AI social media post, blog post, anything. It's good PR for the business, but at the end of the day, it really is just a signal for Google that this is an active account and that it's taken care of and that there's thought being put into it.
Welcome to SEO On-Air. Excited to have three guests with us discussing local SEO and sharing all the secrets that they understand about local SEO, which will make more sense of why I think that's funny as we get a little bit deeper into the podcast. Today, we want to give each of you a chance to introduce yourselves so the listeners can know a little bit about you. Starting with Dominick, please tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about your agency.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Dominick Trippie. I'm with B Squared Advertising. We're a full service marketing agency out of Naples, Florida, which is Southwest Florida, if you're not familiar. And we mainly service real estate and development clients. So anybody that's building homes or in related industries, we help them with their marketing and especially their SEO, trying to rank better than their competition. Also have a lot of experience with local SEO, helping even smaller verticals like painters. I screwed up a little bit there. I guess you can cut that.
I can mark it.
Yeah. Anyways, serving those verticals. Happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, happy to have you, man. Thanks for joining us. Jim, please give us a quick intro to yourself and your agency.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Koa. I started organic SEO in 2010 and began building websites. I started my own company, worked that 10 years growing IT, tech, healthcare companies, switched to AdLeverage. They were kind enough to welcome me. I'm their senior SEO manager now, and we specialize in building revenue for home service businesses across the United States. We are a Nexstar network partner, and we're newly crowned one of 6 Yelp Diamond partners. So those are fun ads this year.
Yeah, congratulations. I know Yelp feels like it's coming back with a little vengeance as everyone's trying to expand their brand further across the internet today, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's making big strides. And local is my focus now, so I look forward to digging into some details about how we can help your listeners.
Awesome. Excited to have you with us, Jim. And last but not least, Gage, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your agency.
Sure. Hey, y'all. I'm Gage. I work for Non-Stuffy Attorneys as the SEO director. As the name would suggest, we work primarily with law firms. We're located in Clearwater, Florida, so not too far from you, Dominick. And I've been in the space now for around 11 years. Started when I was in high school learning about this stuff, and very happy to be here and hopefully give some good insights.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me when we chatted earlier too was that your perspective was really aligned with AEO, GEO today, which is like genuinely good content and optimizing for like unique content, which I really appreciate today. It's been a big conversation piece on the podcast as people are talking about AI produced content and the complications that come along with it. So excited to have you three with us. Thank you for joining us. So today, local SEO is one of those areas where everyone thinks that there's a shortcut. But when you actually look at the businesses that win, it often comes down to who's doing the basics the best. So when I talk about the secrets of local SEO, or just a bit earlier, I did think it was funny because it seems like there's not a secret sauce, yet everywhere I look on LinkedIn or anywhere else that advertises it makes it sound like there's a whole bunch of secret sauces and we need to find all of them. So asking the three of you openly here, what actually drives results in local SEO today? Give me your perspectives of what's going on. I'm going to open this question up to all of you, so feel free to jump in.
I guess I can go first. I think, especially for local, I think consistency is the main driver. The more you're consistent, the more you're posting, the more you kind of make yourself available to other people with reviews, your maybe projects that you've done, anything updated on your site. Consistency is the hack, if you will.
Where do you need to be consistent?
I think one, responding to reviews. I think that a lot of local SEO managers or maybe just a business owner might have reviews up on their Google. They're not getting any responses to it, and people they want to engage, and they want, if they spent the time to leave a good review, it's good to say thank you. If they wrote a bad review, you still need to respond to those, just because if it's a bad review, either you give it a kind response, or you at least show that the owner of the business or somebody actually cares.
The stories to the bad reviews I find to be so much fun from like the reader's perspective, right? There's like a whole story on two sides, and you get to hear both of them and see which one you think you lean or agree with more. I can appreciate responding to those negative ones. Jim and Gage, what do you think? What's actually driving results for local SEO today?
I agree with Dominick. It's consistency, and it's doing the work. The thing about it, and the thing that kind of drives me a little bit crazy that I mentioned to you on our previous calls, Koa, is that so many people in this industry are looking for a hack. They're promising these crazy results while, kind of doing some questionably ethical things. And there's no long-term play in any of it. It's not scalable. It's you've got to put the time in, you've got to put the work in, and you've got to continue to do it. And that's pretty much the only way that you're going to get where you want to be.
The secret sauce of black hat SEO and some of the stuff that I've seen with like faking traffic to physical locations. I know that it works, and I've talked to SEO agents that or like SEO experts that have practiced and dabbled with their own black hat techniques on their own websites to see how long it would take to break things. And one of the things they mentioned is like sometimes that fake boost of traffic doesn't get you penalized like you think it would. It works for quite some time until there's any type of drop in traffic or anything else that's happening unnatural, and then getting just completely annihilated or blacklisted from or de-indexed, right? It's the risk that you play when you try to, play with fire, kind of get burned situations. So appreciate that those secret sauces are sometimes just dangerous.
100%.
I don't know if you guys have heard about those, like faking like cell phone traffic, or even paying like high schoolers to just like drive areas of like a city to a restaurant, even if they don't shop there, just to make it look like everyone's going somewhere for their Google Maps locations.
I try to avoid those black hat techniques. Yeah, there was a black hat SEO website I used to love going to back in 2012, 13, and but it's not worth it. As someone, I guess Gage and you guys were talking about earlier, content is still key. Are you meeting the needs of the reader? And on how many pages are you doing so? It can't just be one page. The best tip I can give is focus on building out a full service line for every city you want to target, and build your topical authority so it supports the rankings of those service line pages and local results.
That sounds like the simple version of just do it right the first time, which leads me to my next question, which is local SEO being overcomplicated today?
I think, Jim, a good point that you brought up is like the different cities, but even if you go even smaller for like really local, I know we have builders here that are in one city, but they're doing it by communities on their services page. So, in Southwest Florida, I know probably in all areas of Florida, and it's like private community every block almost, and those people are almost cities if you're doing service pages. So I think that's pretty big. And I mean, to not overcomplicate it is just that, like treat it like a city or a service for those cities.
Good point. Localization is key. Yeah.
I'm interested in hearing more about ways that you guys are seeing people overcomplicate it, even if it's from other like promotional material you've seen from other agencies. What are we hearing that's making it so confusing for consumers when it comes to local SEO?
I think people intentionally do it because I'm sure, as all of you would agree, SEO by its nature can tend to be somewhat complicated. It's not once you get the hang of it, but for a business owner who's maybe not entirely tech savvy, right? Like you get into talking about indexing pages or algorithms or anything like that, things that person might not necessarily be, on the up and up with, because it's not their job to be. You start throwing these confusing terms around, and you start, sort of going, oh, we're going to manipulate this, this, and this. And it confuses the person. It's almost like a sales, like a domination sales tactic. I don't know if you guys would agree with me on that, but it's in all the promotional content. You take something that few people understand and you just hammer it onto the person, and I think that's what tends to be looked at as the overcomplication of it.
The aspect of not knowing a lot about SEO and be like, you say you're focusing on like we said like a plumber or whatever service industry that you're in. You're so busy that your marketing agency is often like, hey, can you send a picture, please, so that we can update your Google post or so we can post something here? And they can't even take a picture when they're on the job site. So you're asking them to go and like post their own Google profile updates and stuff like that. And they have no idea what that means or where they would go or any other aspect of it. I appreciate that perspective because I do feel that for local businesses, they're trying their best to stay afloat, right? Like they're giving you as much budget as they can because they need help. But there are so many agencies that are pitching that secret sauce, whether it was like the physical location or anything else. Maybe they take a nice picture of like the map showing green everywhere, that your local ranking is going to be amazing, and the other advertising methods there. There's a reality that AI has made tools smarter, and you're not really fooling everything right now. You just need to be doing the work to make sure that people actually know what you do. So how are you guys able to pull that information from a customer early on when you're onboarding them or you're first getting a local customer in place? How are you able to translate what they're telling you into what needs to be advertised on the local maps for them and in their Google profiles?
I could start if you'd like. The good thing about local SEO, and especially home services businesses, is that a lot of our partners use Service Titan. So we could see where their revenue channels are mapped out when we onboard. We could see some opportunities right away that we need to address, content production, and we could see where they're already strong, and which cities they're already strong, and which cities they need to grow. So the one difference I'll say is with national sites or international sites that don't have a physical product to sell, either in e-commerce or a service business, it's harder to prove that. But with revenue already visible, it makes it much easier.
Gage, Dominick, do you have any thoughts on it?
I would say, to not overcomplicate it, I think when you first are onboarding somebody, you don't want to say, here's the 20 things we're going to do. Instead, let's just focus on one thing and do it right. And like you said, like if you're just trying to get pictures from somebody, hey, let's take the next 3 or 4 months. Let's really work on the gallery and your projects and maybe even past projects that you have. Let's have a good strategy for setting that up. Then maybe in, next quarter, at the end of the year, let's start working on a good review strategy for you. And let's just not try to, open the floodgates, if you will. Let's just focus on doing one thing right now. I think that's an easier sell to onboarding somebody.
That works really well for the limited budgets too, right? They don't necessarily have the whole thing to go after it at one time.
Absolutely.
Gage?
Yeah. To Jim's point earlier, content still being king, right? Especially with attorneys. We kind of live in this complicated sector, the your money, your life thing. And so quality of content is really the driver for us. And we explain that to clients, like our strategy has and always will be, get the service hubs put together. Like whatever you offer, let's get a page up. Let's figure out what people are searching for in your local area. Like down to the city, we tend to stay within the address and we go, okay, this is what we're going to focus on, this area here. And once that's done, and once we've got all that, we can expand out. And our metric is we tend to run off of organic leads. And that's something that business owners tend to be very interested in. Is how many organic leads are you getting a month? Has it increased? Is it covering the budget that you've set aside for SEO services? And so we start there and kind of work our way back as far as what we measure, and it tends to sort of unravel this giant mystery, which is SEO for most of these law firm owners who didn't sign up to be technical marketers. They want to practice law.
The content piece is fascinating because I've seen a few posts recently that talk about updating content, even on GBP posts, is a massive way of increasing visibility or the activity that Google's recognizing from a local business. And then refreshing old content is something that's been coming up quite often lately, that dated content is doing more to hurt you at this point than to help you. So how are you guys seeing content affect local businesses today? Because that's not something that they all spend a lot of time on as well.
Between no-click searches, with your results populating at the top of the AI results, and recently we've seen the GBP book online buttons be removed from GBPs too, so that cuts down our clicks going to those, even though we post regularly, like you're saying, on GBP posts and offers. SEO has been a little more challenging through Google with the AI, but best practices still are working, where brand authority and topical authority help you get those positions that outrank your competitors.
And I think even pitching this, I mean, we're talking to pretty expensive pay-per-click markets here, like law keywords, real estate keywords. I mean, these are not cheap keywords if you're doing pay-per-click. So, I mean, to continue to promote SEO, and especially, like you said, the organic leads, you put in the work now, it's going to be a lot less expensive than trying to get tons of those leads through paying for them.
I'm curious, guys, with like how AI actually fits into this a little bit more with local SEO, because we've heard the rumors that Google could be making the AI view the standard view for the SERP, right, where it could kind of eliminate organic as we knew it. But local has always kind of seemed to be excluded from that in a way. Like it's withheld itself or maintained itself stronger, I'd say, than the organic rankings has. What do you guys see? And I'm asking you to predict the future, but how do you see local changing as AI view starts to become more of the norm in Google instead of the SERP?
If trend continues, our results continue to get pushed down by ads being displacing our organic results.
Organic will be on page 3 because there's so many ads showing up. Yeah,
I think kind of we're at the mercy of Google here. So yeah, we're trying to predict the future, but we do know, I mean, at the end of the day, if it's an AI response, I think people still value a human response. And that is what we kind of brought up about, these continued postings. You can use AI to, write those posts, but let's make sure they sound like humans or even the voice of the business owner. I think if you see, people are getting good at detecting if that's an AI social media post, blog post, anything. It's been around long enough now for at least marketing agencies to see it and, oh, they didn't write that. That's just a bot that wrote that.
There's a thought that's been on my mind as I've worked on my wife's business, which was the GBP posts. I had never experienced doing those before in my life, and I don't think I'd ever clicked on one in my life. So I was really curious who those posts are for, because it felt like they were strictly for Google, which is a phase of SEO that we've kind of moved away from, I'd say, where people stopped writing so much for Google and actually started writing more for their customers. I'm curious, as local is expanding and search evolves to more of these AI searches, do you guys see the need for that dropping off pretty quick as AI becomes its own local search platform? Do you see that being the evolution of where local goes? Feel free to fight me on this. This is just random thought that I have. So
if the tool is there from Google, I'm going to use it. And I recommend you do as well, because we only have so many shots at the apple versus, what we had maybe 2 years ago even. The posts are, while odd, they feel like you're talking to nobody, like the old Google Plus days, but they do add up and show that, like we were talking about, that consistency of just even posting once a week helps you outrank, your nearest competitor.
Agreed with Jim on that. The posts really are, at the end of the day, they kind of are for Google. Because like you said, Koa, I've been in the space 10 years. I'd never read a Google post either. And I really doubt that the end users are reading them either. But it's kind of a balance too, because you're right. You're not writing for Google anymore. You're writing for your customers, even though most likely your customers aren't going to see this post. It's more of a signal. That's what it is. If someone wants to look at it, oh, look, it looks aesthetically pleasing because there are all these informational things sort of giving data and stuff. It's good PR for the business, but at the end of the day, it really is just a signal for Google that this is an active account and that it's taken care of and that there's thought being put into it.
I think the visual side of it's a big deal, actually. Like when you look at a complete Google profile instead of one that's like missing an aspect that one of them has, you don't necessarily know what you're not seeing, but you notice it's different. Jim, I love what you said too about why it's kind of like, why in the world wouldn't I do this, man? Like Google's been such a big player that if I'm too lazy to do a 1-minute post, then you shouldn't have hired me as your marketing agency in the first place.
It's sweat equity, right? It does pay off. Yeah.
So let me ask this. I'll ask two more questions. One, what are some of the red flags that customers should look for in their agencies when they're vetting them? Because it seems like there's so many agencies to choose from and so many people have been burned that there's now, maybe you need some type of filter for the agency you're working with. How would you filter them?
I just think, and maybe I'm just speaking from my own experience, but like if I go onto Instagram right now, I'm going to hit 10 ads that say, I'm going to get you 100 leads by the end of the month. You're going to be the number one ranking for this, this, this. I see that and I'm like, this is bull. I'm just going to continue to scroll. My thing is, if you are a local business owner and you see that 100 leads by the end of the month sounds amazing. Of course, I would want to do that for you. I want to do that for everybody. But
I want to do that for me.
I know that's just if it smells like it is. So I think that's kind of my my advice.
Gage and Jim, what's your advice for the everyday client that needs to find an agency to work with? What are some of the red flags that you should be watching out for?
I think Dominick stole the show, man. It's if you promise if the agency is promising you the moon, run. It's as simple as that. It's there are no guarantees in this business. We can do the best we can and we can do it well but it takes time. At the end of the day, we are at the mercy of Google. We are at the mercy of what was there before we started working on it. And it's an investment. That's what it is. It's like investing in a 401k versus trying to pump and dump crypto coin. You know, you've got to be willing to take the time and to understand that in the beginning, you might lose a little bit of money, but that compound effect eventually over time will net you more profit for longer than anything you could have lost, at least in my opinion. But yeah, if they promise you the moon, run for the hills.
Well said, Dominick, Gage. Yeah, I and maybe as a alternative to that, I'll give you, if you're not talking about the 3 pillars of SEO, authority, relevance, and technology. Is your site technically healthy? How much brand and topical authority have you built up? And how good is your content and how relevant is it to gaining the visitors you want? Have them discuss those topics and see what they say. If you don't like what they say, maybe find somebody else.
Yeah, the trying to sniff out the desperation of an agency that's trying too hard to close you. And then I think that what you're saying there too, like if they don't have the 3-pillar foundation, it's like companies that maybe lean too heavily on a couple tools and the data that comes out of those tools without necessarily knowing how to process that data. They're just showing you numbers and kind of like we talked about, I think a little bit earlier, just trying to make you fearful that you don't understand it and you need them. When in reality, it's not necessarily so complicated. It's the consistency. I think that's awesome. So to summarize it, I do want you guys to tell me, why do some local businesses consistently win over others? I think we've already addressed a lot of this, but I want you guys to give us like some points here. What do we need to focus on as a local company to be successful?
I think we've said this, at least 10 times, but consistency. I think everybody has the opportunity to do it, to be consistent, but not everybody is doing it. Everybody has, AI as a tool, but not everybody's using it. I think, putting in that sweat equity, like we discussed, being consistent.
You could probably say that 100 times and there'd still be people that wouldn't be consistent.
Yeah. I mean, you're not, just because you're successful in your business doesn't mean your SEO is going to be successful. Like you have to have that same sweat and that same grind on both sides of your business.
So trying to simplify it down to even the tasks here, what do you think And I'll lead off with one of them to just guide it in the right way, but reviews, like consistency around asking for reviews and consistency around getting reviews. What are some of the other factors that weigh in on this consistency? We talked about GBP posts. What else are we missing?
I think we brought up like the service pages as well, especially for local niche companies. Let's say you specialize in 4 or 5 things. I want all 4 of those, or all of those on your website, and I want all those by city or by community. Just keep putting that in front of people. People like to see that, I think.
That big footprint, like Dominick was saying, gives you that local relevance that's going to outrank the others too, because they're going to be internally linked per that city hub. Gives you a really powerful tool per city.
Gage, are we missing anything here?
Agreed 100%. Big thing that we've seen improvement on is when we're writing for a specific city to catch local traffic. Huge thing to do as well is write that content for that city, mention landmarks, outlinking to external references has been, we've noticed actually giving a boost to a lot of our other organic rankings as well. But the consistency with that hub, man, if you don't have your services and supporting assets, giving authority to those service pages, you're just not going to go anywhere, man. You've got to have it there. It looks good on your site. It lets Google know that you're the real deal. It's, that's basically it. And to Jim's point earlier on the 3 pillars, staying consistent on your technical and doing everything you can to improve that too. Like if SEO is kind of for nerds. You've got to be consistent with the nerdy stuff. Like you can't, it's not as exciting as like something like PPC or something. It's a grind. It's you get in there, you do it, and you make sure you continue doing it. And that's what really works.
It's funny that local, which I think focuses on the customers that are, really out there working their tails off to get their business, that really all you're asking from them is consistency on having just enough time to post or respond to the reviews, take a few pictures. And it's funny that like when we talk about it, it's not that it's complicated, but you need to hire somebody. Like you just need someone that can focus on the consistency and not be pulled away by every single fire that needs to be put out when you're running a business on your own. And for not very much a month compared to your time, you're probably way better off on that consistency having hired out instead of trying to build it out in-house. I think about it for myself, guys. I mentioned my wife's running a local business, and I'm like, man, that's just not what I want to spend my time focusing on. I would rather someone be doing it for me. If you guys have any other questions, we may have to tag you guys on LinkedIn and maybe have you connect and ask a few questions. Jim, I think you had created some type of sheet for today. I would love it if you would have that shared when we do post this. We're excited to have you guys as guests of SEO On Air. And thank you for joining us this time, guys. Have a great day.